What if I told you that there is a system in your body working every second of every day that can influence your heart rate, your digestive system, your sleep, your appetite, your immune system, your emotions, and even how calm or overwhelmed you feel? And most of the time, you don't even think about it. I'm talking about your nervous system. We usually think of the nervous system as the brain, the spinal cord, and all those nerves running throughout our body. And that is true. But your nervous system does so much more than simply help you think, move, and feel. It is constantly receiving information and helping your body decide, am I safe? Or do I need to protect myself? And when we understand that, a lot of things about our bodies begin to make more sense. So today, we're going to talk about what your nervous system actually does, what happens when it spends too much time in stress response, and most importantly, some very simple ways we can support it. So hi, I'm Dr. Carolyn, and welcome to the Healthy Aging Classroom. This is where we talk about natural wellness, healthy aging, and practical things we can do to take better care of ourselves as we get older. And today we're talking about something I wish more women understood: your nervous system. Your nervous system affects you more than you realize. Now, when I say nervous system, don't worry, I'm not going to give you an anatomy lecture. I want to explain this in a way that you can actually relate to your own life. Because once you understand what's happening inside your body, you may begin looking at stress very differently. So, how does this nervous system communicate? Well, it's through a networking system. It's the basics. Think of your nervous system as your body's enormous communication network. Your brain and spinal cord make up what's called the central nervous system. Then you have nerves traveling throughout your body that are part of your peripheral nervous system. Together, they allow information to travel back and forth incredibly quickly. You touch something hot and your body reacts. You hear a loud noise behind you and you turn around. You step off the curb and see a car coming, and before you've had time to think about it, your body reacts to the situation. It responds. That's your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. But there's another part of this system that's especially important for today's conversation. It's called the autonomic nervous system. And autonomic basically means that it handles many things automatically. You don't wake up every morning and say, okay, heart, start beating. You don't have to remind your digestive system to move food along. You don't consciously tell your pupils when to change size. Much of this happens automatically. And within this automatic nervous system are two branches I really want to understand. So there's the sympathetic and parasympathetic. The first is called the sympathetic nervous system. You may have heard this described as your fight or flight system. I like to think of it as your body's accelerator. When your brain perceives a threat, it prepares to respond. Your heart may beat faster, your breathing may become quicker, and you become more alert. Your muscles prepare for action. Energy becomes available to help you deal with whatever is happening. This system is not the enemy. We need it. If you're driving and somebody suddenly pulls out in front of you, you don't want your body saying, well, let's meditate on this for a moment. No, you don't want that. You want an immediate response. The sympathetic nervous system helps make that possible. But then we have another branch called the parasympathetic nervous system. If the sympathetic system is like the accelerator, you can think of the parasympathetic system as helping the body slow down, recover, and return toward baseline. It supports activities associated with rest and digest. your heart rate can slow. Your body can turn more attention toward digestion. Your system gets an opportunity to recover. We sometimes hear this called rest and digest. Both systems are necessary. The goal isn't to live in a perfectly relaxed state every minute of every day. That's neither realistic nor desirable. We need activation when life requires it, and we need recovery afterwards. The problem comes when we're constantly pressing the accelerator and rarely allowing enough time for recovery. So the problem with chronic stress is years ago, the threats humans faced were often very obvious. There was danger. The body responded. The danger passed, and the body could settle again. Our modern lives are different. Today, the threat might be an overflowing email box, a family problem, financial worries, a difficult relationship, caring for an aging parent or spouse, a medical appointment you're worried about, not sleeping well, running late, the news, our phones constantly buzzing, or simply feeling as though there's always something else we should be doing. Your body doesn't necessarily care whether the stressor is a wild animal or an upsetting phone call. If your brain interprets something as stressful or threatening, it can activate a stress response. Again, short-term stress isn't automatically bad. The concern is chronic stress, when stress is frequent or prolonged and we don't have enough opportunities for recovery. That's when we can begin to notice effects in different areas of our lives. So, cortisol. Cortisol is not the villain. But we're going to talk about a word you probably have heard many times, which is cortisol. And it's often called the stress hormone. And because of that, it has developed a rather terrible reputation. But cortisol isn't bad. We need cortisol. It's produced by the adrenal glands and helps regulate important functions, including metabolism and our response to stress. Cortisol also follows a natural daily rhythm. Normally, levels are higher around the time we wake up and lower later in the day. That morning rise helps us get up and get going. When we experience stress, cortisol is one of several hormones involved in helping the body respond. The problem isn't cortisol is bad. The bigger issue is what happens when the body's stress response systems are repeatedly activated over longer periods of time. So instead of trying to eliminate it, I want you to think about something much more realistic. How can I give my body more opportunities to recover from stress? That's a much healthier question. So, your heart. Let's look at the heart. When your sympathetic nervous system becomes more active, your heart rate can increase. Think about the last time something startled you. Maybe you nearly had an accident. Maybe something fell behind you. Maybe somebody unexpectedly knocked at your door. What did you feel? Your heart may have started pounding. You didn't consciously make that happen. Your nervous system did. And once you realized you were safe, eventually your heart settled again. That's a beautiful example of your nervous system adjusting to what's happening around you. Your autonomic nervous system also helps regulate cardiovascular functions, such as heart rate, blood vessel activity. This is the one reason stress management isn't simply about feeling relaxed. It is part of supporting overall health. Of course, persistent palpitations, chest pain, shortness of breath, or other concerning heart symptoms should never be blamed on stress. Those need appropriate medical evaluation. So, your digestion. Now let's move down to the digestive system. Your brain and digestive system communicate constantly. You may have heard the phrase gut-brain connection. This isn't just a catchy wellness phrase. There's really is extensive communication between gastrointestinal system, and your brain. Think what happens when you're extremely nervous. Some people get butterflies. Some lose their appetite. Some suddenly need to use the bathroom. Others become constipated when they're under prolonged stress. Stress can influence digestive movement, secretions, sensations, and appetite. And this is where the parasympathetic nervous system becomes particularly interesting because it supports digestive activity. That's one reason I encourage people not to eat every meal while rushing. Before you eat, try something simple. Put your phone down. Sit. Relax your shoulders. Take 3 slow breaths. Look at your food. Then begin eating. You're creating a transition. You're telling yourself, for the next few minutes, I don't have to rush. It sounds almost too simple, but sometimes simple practices are exactly what we need. So the vagus nerve is also part of this nervous system, and it's very, very important. So what the vagus nerve does is it's one of the major cranial nerves, and it travels from your brainstem through your neck and into your chest and abdomen. It carries information in both directions and plays an important role in parasympathetic regulation. It is involved in functions related to the heart, lungs, and digestive system. This is one reason you hear so much today about the vagus nerve when people discuss stress regulation. But I don't want you thinking that you have to buy a special gadget to fix your vagus nerves. Some very ordinary things support relaxation and parasympathetic activity. Slow breathing, gentle movement, social connection, relaxation, meditation, and even simply creating periods during the day when you're not constantly stimulated. Your body already has systems designed to help you shift between activation and recovery. Our job is not to force them. It is to create conditions that support them. Sleep. Now let's talk about sleep. Have you ever been completely exhausted and the minute your head hits the pillow, your brain says, wonderful, now let's think about everything. And then you're replaying your conversations, the things that you have done, the things you need to do tomorrow, remembering something embarrassing you did 15 years ago, wondering whether you locked the door. Your body is tired, but your mind is still on duty. Sleep and stress systems have a two-way relationship. Stress can make sleep more difficult, and inadequate sleep can make us feel more stressed and emotionally reactive the very next day. This is why I love the idea of creating a wind down period before bed. You wouldn't drive your car 70 miles an hour and then instantly throw it into park. Give your body a little transition time. Dim the lights. Turn off upsetting television. Put your phone away. If you're going to read, you can read, stretch, pray, listen to calming music, take a warm shower or bath, breathe. You are creating a signal. The day is ending. So emotions and how they affect us. Our nervous system is also deeply involved in emotion. When you're under prolonged stress, you may notice that your patience isn't quite what it normally is. Little things bother you. You may feel more anxious, more irritable, more overwhelmed, or simply exhausted. And sometimes we judge ourselves for this. We think, why can't I handle things like I used to? Instead, I want you to become curious. Ask yourself, what has my body been carrying lately? Maybe you've been taking care of everyone else. Maybe you've been worried. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you haven't slept well for weeks. Maybe you've had no time to yourself. Our emotions don't exist separately from our physical bodies. They're interconnected. So this last part here is your immune system. Here's another connection many people don't realize. Your nervous system, hormonal stress response systems, and all these communicate with one another. Short-term stress responses can temporarily change immune activity, but chronic physiological stress has been associated with dysregulation of immune and inflammatory processes. That doesn't mean stress causes every illness. It doesn't. And I want to be very careful about that. But it does mean that managing chronic stress is part of taking care of the whole person. When we talk about healthy aging, we can't just talk about food. We can't just talk about exercise. We can't just talk about supplements. We also need to talk about recovery. So how do we support the nervous system? So now let's get into this part that you can actually use. What can we do? I want to give you 5 simple practices, and please don't try to do all 5 tomorrow. Pick one. Number 1, slow your breathing. Your breath is one of the few things that happens automatically, but that you can also deliberately change. Slow, comfortable breathing can influence your autonomic nervous system and help people feel calmer. Let's try it. Relax your shoulders. Take a comfortable breath in through your nose. Breathe out slowly. Again, in and slowly out. One more. In. Notice how you feel. You didn't buy anything. You didn't go anywhere. You simply gave your body a quiet moment. Number 2, move your body. Movement doesn't have to mean an hour at the gym. Walk, stretch, garden, dance in your kitchen. Movement can help us release some of the physical tension that builds up during stressful days. And being outdoors adds another wonderful dimension. Sometimes a 10-minute walk can change the entire tone of an afternoon. Number 3, create quiet. Try 5 minutes without your phone. No TV, no podcast, no news, no scrolling. Just sit quiet. That may sound easy. Try it. I have to work at that. We have become so accustomed to constant stimulation that silence can initially feel strange. But your brain doesn't need to consume information every waking minute of the day. Number 4, connect with people. This one is often overlooked. Our nervous system doesn't exist in isolation. Human beings are social creatures. A conversation with someone you trust, a hug, laughing with a friend, sitting with someone you love can be incredibly regulating. Healthy aging isn't only about what we eat and how much we exercise. Connection matters too. Number 5, create a daily safe moment. I want you to choose one moment every day when you deliberately tell yourself, nothing is required of me for the next 5 minutes. Sit outside, have a cup of tea, pet your dog or cat, listen to music, pray, breathe, look out the window. Whatever feels peaceful to you. 5 minutes, that's all. Because we're not trying to create a life with zero stress. We're creating a life that includes recovery from stress. There's a big difference. The big picture, if there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it's this. Your nervous system is not working against you. It is constantly trying to help you adapt to what's happening around you and inside you. The sympathetic nervous system isn't bad. Cortisol isn't bad. Stress isn't automatically bad. These are normal parts of being human. What matters is balance, activation, and recovery. Doing and resting, responding, and settling. As we get older, we think this becomes even more important. We spend decades taking care of children, careers, homes, parents, spouses, and everyone else. Sometimes we become so accustomed to functioning under pressure that we don't even recognize it as stress. So perhaps one of the healthiest things we can begin doing is simply asking, does my body ever get a chance to feel that the day is safe enough to slow down? Your nervous system affects far more than you realize. It communicates with your heart, your digestive system, your hormones, your immune system, your brain. And it plays a role in how your body responds to the world around you. But supporting your nervous system doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to completely change your life. Start with something small. 3 slow breaths before you eat. 5 quiet minutes in the afternoon. A walk outside. An evening without your phone. A conversation with someone you love. Small moments of recovery add up. And perhaps healthy aging isn't always about adding another supplement, another program, or another thing we have to do. Sometimes it's about giving ourselves permission to do a little less. So what I would like you to do, if you enjoyed this video today, I'd love for you to subscribe and join me here at the Healthy Aging Classroom. We're going to keep exploring simple, practical ways to support our bodies as we get older without making wellness complicated. And I have a question for you. When you feel stressed, where do you notice it first in your body? Is it your stomach, your sleep, your shoulders, your appetite, your heart beating maybe faster, or maybe you simply feel exhausted? Tell me in the comments. I think you'll be surprised by how many other women say, me too. And if you know someone who has been carrying a lot lately, share this video with them. She may need the reminder that rest isn't something we have to earn. It's part of taking care of ourselves. Thank you for spending time with me. I'll see you in the next Healthy Aging Classroom.